Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session on the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action. The idea is to introduce you today what are the MSCA action currently open with a call for proposal open and to give you some information on how Switzerland can participate. So the MSCA action have the same principle. They are here for the mobility, the training, and the career development of the young researchers. It has these three I aspects. So it has an international dimension, some intersectoral trainings, and also multidisciplinary, so interdisciplinary approach. It is a bottom-up program, meaning that all kind of research domain can apply to these actions. There are 5 MSCA actions: the postdoctoral fellowship, the doctoral network, the staff exchange, the COFN, and the MSCA and citizen. And they are all very different. And since the focus of today is to introduce you only the action with the call that is currently open, I will focus this presentation on postdoctoral fellowship, doctoral network, and COFN. So let's start with the postdoctoral fellowship. So the postdoctoral fellowship are individual fellowship. They are funding from projects that are partly on the scientific aspect, but also for the training of the excellent researcher of any field. That's why it's a kind of unique fellowship. It's not like any kind of regular or the postdoctoral research funding you can find, because the training and the supervision are essential. Within this fellowship, you can find 2 types of fellowship, the European one and the global. So the European fellowship is for the mobility within Europe, and it's for 1 of 2 years project, and this is for researchers of any nationality. With this fellowship, you should comply also to the eligibility and the mobility rules that you can find in the work program. The global fellowship is for a mobility of 2 years outside the member state and the associated country, and 1 year back to as a return phase to a member state and national or associated country to the Horizon Europe program. For that, you have to be a national or a long-term resident of an EU member state or associated country. You can also have some non-academic placement during this fellowship. This is the I, which is linked to intersectoral, but for that, you need to wait the end of the fellowship, and it's up to 6 months in the non-academic sector in an EU member state or associated country. So how Switzerland can participate? As it has been mentioned, Switzerland is currently non-associated to Horizon Europe. Therefore, it is a non-associated third country. For the postdoctoral fellowship, it means that the European fellowship is not possible for the 2023, but also for this year's call. The Swiss institution can host only the outgoing phase of a global fellowship. The researchers with a Swiss nationality are not eligible to participate to a global fellowship unless they are longer term resident to the EU member state or associated country. And this is also valid for the 2024 call. So therefore, it means that Switzerland can only participate to the global fellowship with these 2 years in Switzerland and 1 return year in a member state or associated country. The call is currently open with a deadline in September, and you can expect the call result in 2025, around February. But in order to provide also the possibility for a European fellowship, there are some transitional measures put in place, and those are provided by the SNSF, the Swiss National Science Foundation. And the idea is to mimic the postdoctoral fellowship provided by the European Commission, but with national funding. So the rules are basically the same. This is the case for the mobility rules. this is the case for the age-limited rules. It means it is for postdoc not more than 8 years after the PhD. But this one, as I mentioned, is for all nationalities. Open to all the research discipline topics, so it's also bottom-up program, and also the same for 1 to 2 months fellowship. And the host can be in a EU, in a Swiss research institution, but not commercial. This is not allowed in Switzerland. And the grants include the salary, the research cost, and the conference cost, just as it is provided by the European Commission PF grant. The call are expected to be open around September. We may be a deadline in December. This is not officially open yet. Now, let's see about the doctoral networks. So the doctoral networks, this is a network of different institutions around Europe that provides training for doctoral students. So the funding are mainly for training. It is a combination of a research program and a training program for a 4-year project implementation, with the exception of 6 years for the joint doctorate that I will explain you. And within this program, you can hire some PhD candidate for funding between 3 months to 3 years. But this fellow needs to be already enrolled in a doctoral program. So the idea here is to have some institution to train highly skilled doctorate candidate. The idea of having this part related to training and this part related to research is to have to invest in good doctoral candidates for the future of research in Europe. And the 3I are also applying in this kind of a scheme. So it has to be international because you have several institutions participating in this program. Intersectoral because it encourages also to have non-academic beneficiaries, and multidisciplinary because you have all different kinds of institutions behind. And the aims is to train the next generation of researchers and to have the possibility to increase the career perspective of the researchers after. But also the idea is that you to create collaboration among the different partners in different countries for future collaborative project after. Therefore, the collaboration and the transfer of knowledge is also very important in this kind of project. Under the doctoral network, you have 3 possibilities. Either you go for a regular doctoral network. So this is the standard option. And here you will have a maximum of 540 person months. It means that you have, for instance, 15 PhD candidates for 36 months each. This is the most common and easiest doctoral network to implement. But then you have also the industrial doctorate, and here you have 540 person months, but one entity minimum have to be from the non-academic sector. And the doctoral candidates have to spend half of their time in the non-academic sector, and they will have a joint supervision between the 2 sectors. Then you have the joint doctorate. Also here you have a maximum of 550 person months. And this idea is to have a joint degree between 2 institutions with a joint government structure. This one is quite easy to implement because you have only one institute which is formed from an EU member state and associated country necessary for a joint degree. And then you have the researchers themselves. So as I mentioned, they must be enrolled in a doctoral program. They must be a doctoral candidate. They can have any nationality, but they still have to comply with the mobility rules. How Switzerland can participate in this action? Switzerland can only participate as an associated partner in the MSCA. It means that they contribute to the general implementation of the project, but they do not sign the grant agreement, the contract between the EU and Switzerland. They do not receive money from the EU, but they have to provide, and which is not mandatory but recommended, a letter of commitment. They will then get the funding directly from the Swiss government. And via this funding, which will be the same as the European funding, they can recruit grantee, postdoctoral candidate, and they will be called CERI-funded MSc grantee. Nevertheless, they can lead work package. So how does it work practically? The budget goes on top of the maximum contribution for each kind of doctoral network. Remember, I told you that you have different maximum per month allocated, which is 540 per month, and it is for around 15 MSc candidates, meaning that the one from Switzerland are coming on top of those ones. So the call is currently open with a deadline for the end of November, and in 2025, around April, you should be able to get the results. And it's once you get the results that you will apply to the CERI funding. There's no need to apply at the moment to the CERI. And then we will have a look at the CoFund. So CoFund is another scheme again. CoFund is not for individual. CoFund is for doctoral or postdoctoral program that exists already within the host institution. This is a contribution for maximum 5 years, and it's a 10 million contribution per beneficiary. This means that it's only one beneficiary who will apply for this CoFund. This is why it's so-called a mono-beneficiary action. But in this case, we talk about cascading funding, and I will explain you how. Here, Switzerland cannot apply as a beneficiary. It can, again, apply only as an associated partner. And therefore, they cannot receive money from the Europe, and it will be up to CERI to finance the proposal. The cost also here from the institution do not count towards the budget. So in a CoFund, you can have the beneficiary, which is the one getting the money, but you can have also be an associated partner, and this is how Switzerland can participate, but also an implementing partner. Switzerland cannot be an implementing partner, only an associated partner, meaning that Switzerland cannot recruit researcher via the CoFund. In order to be a little bit more explicit, you have here a scheme. So you have the beneficiary. The beneficiary receives the money from the EU and signs the grant agreement. And then the beneficiary gives the money to the implementing partner in the other MSCA, MS or associated country. And then there's the associated partner from Switzerland, the one you find on your left. And here, they nevertheless have to come with their own matching funding, meaning that they have partly the funding, and additionally to that, they get the CERI. So the both sides of the funding is coming, in this case, not from EU. This is why we cannot call them MSCA fellow, but CERI-based, CERI MSCA-based funded fellows. For all this kind of action, what can your research offers you? We can offer you proposal review. For the global fellowship, of course, we will review entirely your proposal in case of we have a few conditions for that we get your proposal early enough, that we still have the resources, and that we get a mature proposal. For the DN and for the CoFund, we will be happy to check whether Switzerland is properly incorporated in the proposal. We also recommend you to have a look at the different MSCA Net handbook that we publish. Those are extra guide on how to write this MSCA proposal with all the tips coming from the MSCA NCP community. This is not an official document. And you can find them on our website. And additionally to that, you can have a letter of commitment, and we can also support you with the consortium agreement. We also recommend you to use the matchmaking platform. This is a platform also created by the MSCA NCP network, where you can publish your interest in collaborating in one of these MSCA, either to find a supervisor, a host institution, either for you as an institution to mention that you would like to host fellows, or to find partner in a DN MSCA or staff exchange program. If you are interested in one of these actions, we create some very short video, about 20 minutes, on how you can participate as a Swiss-based partner to the different actions. Basically, it's what I told you, but with a little bit more explanation. For any question, we are part of 3 national contact points in Switzerland, so please do not hesitate to contact us at this email address, msca@uresearch.ch. We will be happy to support you. And under this website page, uresearch.ch/MSCA, you can find all the documents I'm referring to in this presentation. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention and goodbye.